In Elden Ring, faith is known as...
I don't think in the black and white lines that I've been programmed to think in. You look crazy.
Or at least it's a small but very evident part of faith. In this video, I'll be taking 5 major areas of Elden Ring and finding the most powerful faith weapons for each area. These areas are Limgrave, Liernia, Kindred, Altus Plateau plus Volcano Manor, and Mountaintops of the Giants plus Faerut Missoula. While in these areas, I follow some specific rules I made for myself. First, I can only use weapons with the highest required stat of faith, like seals or swords imbued with holy magic. Next, I can only defeat a main boss of an area after I found the most powerful faith weapons or even armors. And that's kind of it. Let's see what this piss magic can do. Out of all the characters, I chose the Prophet because it has the highest faith stat and I'm scared of the light. Then I woke up in Limgrave and got my horse from Melina. Choosing the Prophet class, I started with a random heal spell and Catch Flame, which is totally not that good. To get a weapon that's made out of metal and not some questionable fabrics, I talked to Kenneth Height and he told me to go take down Fort Height. Then for my reward, I returned to him and he gave me the Erdsteel dagger. And in some comments, people had very high praise for this weapon. Or maybe just paired with other stuff. Then I rode further down south and met a lady who wanted me to deliver a letter to her father. So I found him atop Castle Morn and he told me to go fight this feathery dude at the end of Castle Morn. And I brought him a gift. Usually Lizardman isn't too hard, all you have to do is keep your distance and blow smoke in his face once in a while, and that's all you need to win. Then I went back to Irina's body and trampled over her to make sure she was dead. She was in fact dead. Edgar also swore vengeance on all the lizards. To get some better weapons, I went under the tomb's word ruins to find the Winged Scythe, but I can't use it yet because it requires too many stats in strength and dexterity. Next, I wanted to up my spell game. First, I got Poison Mist, which is just poison, and then I got Lightning Strike, which is surrounded by a couple of lightning flowers. I also traveled near the Frenzied Flame area to get the Flame of Frenzy. I am totally not insane. At this time, I felt a little weak on the talisman game, so I went and got the Green Dog talisman to increase my stamina. Now, it was time to enter the rabbit hole. At the bottom, me and this summon found 2 homeless people and we beat them up. But this is no ordinary rabbit hole. On the other side, it leads you out to an island with the Dragon Communion Church. If you don't know how this works, you can trade dragon hearts for dragon spells, but I had no dragon hearts, and Agil is the only dragon in Limgrave. So I summoned Bloodyfinger Hunter Yura, and we tried all day, but we couldn't beat him because of his insane health pool. So I thought, maybe I should explore the Fringe Folk hero's grave. This is the path I took. Up ahead was a banished knight that I had battled before and I lost to at least 5 times. And this was finally the one. Upon his defeat, I got the Dragon Communion Seal, which is better than my normal seal, and it boosts dragon incantations by 15%. After that, I teleported to Round Table Hold to get a much needed break from the chaos and torment of everything in that dungeon. Here, I wanted to buy the fireball attack for Mr. Korn, but I had no runes, so I fought the Mr. Albuquerque guy at the bottom of the stairs, and beat him using the hairspray and lighter technique. But that's not the only reason I beat him. If you go around in his house and look to the left and right, you'll find the Cypher Pata, an insanely good faith weapon, but it requires 30 faith. More requirements. But it did give me enough runes to buy
Fireball!
Now with Fireball in hand and the need for stacking some paper, I challenged Margit. And it went exceedingly well. At close range, I would just spam Catch Flame, and at far range, I would just throw my fireballs at him. Although sometimes, in perfect conditions, I would try the Flame of Frenzy spell, but they would all miss because I don't really know how they work. Eventually, I beat him and got what I came for. 12,000 runes. I swear he dropped 16,000.
Oh, poop.
To get some more runes, I killed some bosses using the Flame of Frenzy spell, and I realized this spell is a lot better on bigger enemies such as the Deer and the Dragonkin Soldier. To get a new talisman for my new talisman slot, I got Marika's Scar Seal to get more faith. Now, with Stormveil unlocked, I entered a room with 2 chests, one with the Godslayer Seal and one with the Godskin Prayer Book. And the 2 spells from the Godskin Prayer Book are absolutely devastating. It's the Black Flame Sword and the Black Balls. I was gonna pick them up right away until I saw the price. With enough runes put into Faith, I could finally use the Angel Scythe, so I challenged Agil. And this went a lot better with an actual weapon. He dropped the Dragon Heart, and I took it to the Dragon Communion Church. Out of the 3 choices, I chose Dragon Maw because it looked way cooler than the other 2. And seeing this, I am not disappointed with my pick. To get another incantation, I led a Crucible Knight off a ledge and got his horns. Also in Stormveil, I got the Claw Talisman, which is good for every class and is probably one of the best talismans in the game. To get the second out of 3 Crucible incantations, I fought the Crucible Knight in the Stormveil Everjail. Fish. Godric is up next, even though he's literally weaker than Margit. Since there's only 2 memory stones in Limgrave, I had access to 4 spells I could use during the fight, and I underestimated how powerful the dragon ones would be. Once I realized in the second phase, I did 3 back to back to back, and it nearly killed him, but I finished with a lizard tail and black balls. In this stage, I use incantations from dragons and lizards to... For my main weapons, I use the Winged Scythe, the Godslayer Seal, and the Dragon Communion Seal. And for my side weapons, I use the Erdsteel Dagger to cast Golden Vow. For my armor and talismans, I use the full Exile set, Marika Scar Seal, and my favorite talisman, the Green Dog Talisman. These were obviously the main incantations I used. Now that I had access to Liernia, I grabbed this grape and gave it to You're Supposed to Be Dead. Anyway, I went down farther for the Volcano Manor invitation from Raya. Then I went east and found this Lane-Del Knight that was extremely difficult to kill. Then I realized the lizard tail wasn't just for looks. On its second swing, it not only knocks them down, but it leaves an opening for the black balls. The knight drops the Dragon Cult Prayer Book, which is extremely invaluable for Faith users. I brought this up to the Turtle Pope, which allowed me to buy the Lightning Spear, the Faith bread and butter. At this time, I thought my armor was a little outdated, so I entered the Stillwater Cave, beat the boss, and found the Sage set. Not only does this look super good when I'm casting spells, but I'm totally not copying anybody. Now that I look like a fire monk, I visited their village and took their books. Then I took it a step further and challenged a slightly overweight fire thief. He dropped some guy's balls. At some ruins, I found the homeless lady again asking for handouts, so I gave her a grape which somehow keeps her alive till next month. Back at Turtleman, I exchanged the fire book for fire incantations such as O Flame, which is usable compared to the giant fireballs which require 51 faith. Turns out O Flame is just a bigger version of Catch Flame. To make my weapon stronger, I visited the Raya Lucaria crystal tunnels and tried out the Cypher Pada. Turns out these Jesus Claws not only weigh 0, but they are excellent poise breakers with the Ash of War unblockable blade. To get some easy runes, I went to challenge Loretta in her water stadium. This is useful because not only is she outright weak to lightning, but my lightning attacks create a ripple in the water doing extra damage. This combined with some dragon attacks managed to kill her and I got some more runes. Now it's time to enter Raya Lucaria's main gate. Oops, I forgot the key. All you have to do to get the key is murder this dragon, With my new Dragon Heart, I went back to the Dragon Communion Church and picked up the Dragon Claw so I can use my head and hand.
What do you mean by that?
I also picked up the 2 memory stones available in Liernia. Then, on my way to Buckingham Palace, I turned right to Crazy Town. This is where I found Frenzied Burst and Howl of Shabriri. Now that I was way stronger, I took a chance down at Ainsel Riverwell. This is where I tested some of my Frenzied spells, and I learned Frenzied Burst has insane range. I didn't really do a lot here, other than challenging a giant space scorpion, taking a look at the Lake of Rot, and fighting a juiced up lizard. This guy is actually a lot harder than I thought, even with my various buffs. It took 3 Dragon Snaps to almost kill him, and then he went Super Saiyan, but I shot him out of the sky with my sniper. He dropped the Frozen Lightning Spear, which is a way better lightning spear and it inflicts frost damage. Entering Raya Lucaria, I charged straight to Renala. Fighting her with a Faith or Intelligence build is noticeably harder than Dex and Strength. First of all, instead of using my spells to kill her children, I just bitch slap them, which saves FP. In the second phase, I was taking thirds away from her health with my dragon heads, but after the initial damage, it was a running fest.
I'm back, motherfucker!
To get some quick damage in while running, I would use my fast attacks such as Lightning Spear to take her health down. Eventually, running in circles worked, and I must have developed some kind of madness throughout the fight because I was running so much. In this stage, I use spells from Hot and Cold to Insane, but for my main weapons, I use the Godslayer Steel and the Dragon Seal. For my side weapons, I use the Erdsteel Dagger again to cast Golden Vow. For For my armor and talismans, I used the full Sage set, America Scar Seal, and the 2 Fingers Heirloom. And here are the new incantations I used throughout Liernia. Now, we arrive at Caelid as the 3rd area, where everything triples in difficulty. Right as I got here, I accidentally picked up Whirl o' Flame, which I think is trash. Then I headed down south, trying to find any grace I could since they hide them so well. After getting a ton of graces in Caelid, I went back to the Round Table Hold to talk to D, who pretty much teleported me to Garank. I then gave him all 4 of my death root from Limgrave and Liernia, which got me the Clawmark Seal and various beast incantations. Although when I went back a 4th time, he was aggroed. Maybe he lost his vape. To get an excess of runes, I killed the giant sleeping dragon in Caelid, and I used a Goldfoot before he died. Not only did he drop 100,000 runes, but he dropped 5 Dragon Hearts, which I used at the real Dragon Communion Church to buy Grail's Roar and Smaragd's Glintstone Breath. To get a really good buff, I went behind Fort Gale to grab Flame, grant me Strength, which increases fire and physical damage by 20%. In the middle rot pool of Caelid, I started farming these Clean Rot Knights not only for their armor, but the Halo Scythe. As a 2% drop rate from these guys, I expected great things. Or maybe I should upgrade it first. To get the runes to use the weapon and upgrade it, I cheesed the Knight's Cavalry off a cliff and picked up the Radagon Sword Seal. With 40k and +5 and a few stats, I could finally wield the weapon. Although before going any further, I went to Siofra to find a merchant that sold cookbook number 17, Oil Pots. When thrown on an enemy, fire attacks do 50% more damage. This will definitely be useful later. Or should I upgrade the Halo Scythe? Would I really put all my materials into a trash weapon? No. Instead, I'll be using a weapon I could have gotten Liernia, but the stats required were way too high. You guessed it, the Sword of Night and Flame. Not only does this have a one-shot meme beam, but the fire attack combined with all my buffs would be devastating. I even upgraded it to +6 by killing the Flying Star Beast in Celia Crystal Tunnel. Safe to say, anything with wood will be burnt to a crisp. To test out the weapon and get some more items, I killed the Flying Dragon Grail and Decaying Ekizikes. I used the same strategy against both of these dragons, which is just drive-by sword swings. Although, after you kill Ekizikes, you can go to the Dragon Communion Church to buy this incantation, Ekizikes Decay. This is just a way stronger version of Rotten Breath. And just to show you how broken it is, throughout my fight with the Godskin Apostle, it's been slowly doing damage up to 10k. I killed this boss solely for the armor set. Entering Redmane Castle, I beat Tweedledee and Tweedledum, dealing thousands of damage with fire. And with that, the festival had begun, and Radon was sitting in the Sahara somewhere. I entered the battle with a... Okay, this time I'll spawn in, summon my army, and then give him cancer with my dragon mouth. After that, I didn't just wait around, I went in with my flame sword. I really wanted to get him before he went up in the air, but my damage was just not high enough. When he came back down, he was dying from the rot faster than I could kill him. Eventually, I got close enough to use the meme beam and finish the fight. I guess I got under his skin. For my main weapon, I used the Sword of Night and Flame, and for my side weapons, I used the Wing Scythe and the Halo Scythe. The main spells I used at this stage were Ekizikes Decay and Flame Grant Me Strength. For my armor and talismans, I used the full Godskin set, America Scar Seal, the 2 Fingers Heirloom, and Radagon Sword Seal. Now I can explore some of the upper-ish areas of the map, Volcano Manor, Aldous Plateau, and the Royal Capital. Straight out of the Grand Lift of Dectus, I took Raya's hand to Volcano Manor and became a cult member. Then I took the secret passage outside and started exploring randomly. I always forget how good these areas are, and this is when I found the Erdtree Seal, one of the best seals in the game. Then I ran into the Godskin Noble, where I used a sleep pot, popped all my buffs, and then hit him with a fire attack. Over time, this easily worked, and not only did he drop his toothpicker, but he dropped his weird belly bounce incantation. After that, I ran all the way to Rykard, and I'm gonna be honest, I think Rykard is one of the harder bosses of this game. 90% of the time, the first phase goes completely well, but in the second phase...
Supposed to be a fucking RPG. What role am I playing? The fucking victim? Jesus fucking Christ!
To combat this, I just upgraded the spear to +5 and got the Godfrey icon, which increases charged spells and skills by 15%. And this worked. My raw damage output was enough to keep me away from the heat, and I beat him. Rykard down. The reward was also beyond worth it, 130k and the Blasphemous Blade. But I know what you're saying, the Blasphemous Blade's highest stat is actually Strength. But after the Dexterity video, I realized that that system is flawed, so I'll now do all faith scaling weapons. Next, I went and got the Fire Scorpion Charm and the Lightning Scorpion Charm to boost my elemental damage. I also went and got the last endangered Somber 7 and upgraded the Blasphemous Blade to +9. At this point, I was pretty much invincible, so I started killing random bosses for useful weapons and spells, like Lanciax, who gave me
a positively electrifying experience. Before
charging into the capital, I picked up the Ritual Sword and rang the doorbell. Finally I'm in. And I actually didn't do a lot above ground other than grab the Gravelstone Seal, which boosts dragon lightning spells by 15%. But what really matters is below ground, where I adventured all the way down to Sewer Moog. Turns out this guy is not only really easy, but a little weird. I feel like this Moog is a lot more fun to fight than real Moog. Now I just wish I had a boss replay feature. The next boss I fought was actually Godfrey, and I used oil pods combined with fire damage to completely destroy him. Although he somehow killed me for a third time after missing a stomp attack.
3-0, cry.
Eventually I was just too hot to handle, and I got him with a new talisman pouch included as well. To replace Golden Vow with Golden Vow, I got a better Golden Vow. Entering Morgoth, there wasn't really anything he could do to stop me from killing him, other than maybe jump off the balcony. In this stage, I used a lot of fire since lightning gets way better later in the game, so for my main weapons, I used the Blasphemous Blade and the Erdtree Seal, and for my side weapons, I used the Gravelstone Seal and the Sword of Night and Flame. The main spells I used were obviously the ones to boost my damage, but also Lanciax's Glaive, which I got when I decided to.
Seduce a dragon.
For my armor and talismans, I used the full Albuquerque set, Fire Scorpion Charm, Ritual Sword, Godfrey Icon, and the Two Fingers Heirloom. Before heading to the mountaintops of the Giants, there's one more thing I have to do.
Please, seek not the frenzied flame. Go to the door ahead. It will surely open. May the flame of chaos find purchase within you. I will kill you.
And we get access to the Deep-Root Depths. This is a steal. There's actually not much down here other than Elden Stars, and I challenged Fortisax. This is actually a lower level boss fight, so I easily killed him and stole his incantation. In the mountaintops of the Giants, I picked up the Giant Seal and the Giant's Prayer Book. Since we have all the way up to Malekith to get stronger, I quickly challenged the Fire Giant to get into Farum Azula. Because this guy's extremely strong against fire, I paired the Blasphemous Blade with the Gargoyle's Black Blade for some extra damage. I also utilized the Claw Talisman to get way stronger jump attacks using both swords. And there's not really much else to say. Once you master this guy's moveset, it's pretty much free runes. After that, I found some Flaming Pot, jumped in, and somehow landed at Ohio. Although before doing anything there, I went to kill Gowry and got the Flock's Canvas Talisman, which increases incantations by 8%. In Farum Azula, I immediately challenged the Godskin duo, not only for the bell bearing, but because this is the last mandatory boss that is strong against fire damage. I also summoned Bernal, not only to make it a 2v2, but because I'm a bitch. And with that, we easily got them, and now I had all the materials to make the strongest build ever. I first killed Alexander to get his talisman, which increases all weapon skills by 15%. I also massively upgraded my seals, with the Giant Seal and the Gravelstone Seal to plus 25, and the Erdtree Seal to plus 10. I actually did get one of the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stones by one-shotting Garank. Then I went up to my favorite Turtle Pope and gave him the Ancient Dragon Lightning Book for Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. Heading up to Malekith, I could use fire damage or lightning damage, both equally OP, but I chose lightning because red lightning is freakishly cool.
Astonished, why cover destined death? To kill what?
You! In this stage, my damage literally 5x'd. For my main weapons, I used the Gravelstone Seal, the Erdtree Seal, and the Giant Seal, and for my side weapons, I used the Blasphemous Blade. The most damaging spells from Fire and Lightning were Fire's Deadly Sin and Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike. For my armor and talismans, I used the full Merchant set, Godfrey Icon, Ritual Sword, Phlox Canvas Talisman, and the Fire Scorpion Charm / the Lightning Scorpion Charm. In the Ashen Capital, my recording crashed, so instead, I'll just tell you what happened. For Gideon, I used the Frenzy spell while I grabbed onto his head and killed him instantly. Next, for Godfrey's first phase, I used Fire's Deadly Sin to take out half of his health bar, and for his second phase, I used Blasphemous Blade because it was too fast. Finally, for Radagon and Eldebeast, it turns out Radagon is insanely weak to fire, so I used Blasphemous Blade to instantly kill him. And then I used Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike on Eldebeast because of the big area of effect. And after all that, I actually got the achievement for the Frenzied Flame ending. Thank you very much for watching, so see ya.